Tips for ACT reading and how to use them in your prep. If you've ever answered multiple choice questions before, that's most of us. You're probably familiar with the process of elimination. Eliminate wrong answers to get the right answer. This is a super powerful strategy. But for the ACT, you'll need to nuance it a little bit to get more questions right faster. You're way more likely to get reading questions wrong if you follow the traditional strategy most people use for tests. Going through the reading passage, reading the question, then reading each answer choice in order and giving it equal consideration. Instead, use these ACT reading tips to ace this action in less time. 1. Understand that wrong answers on reading questions are traps. These are meant to be convincing, slightly too extreme, slightly too narrow. One word off from the right answer. Reasonable assumptions that don't appear in the passage. Material that shows up in the passage but doesn't answer the question. 2. Use keywords from the question to review relevant sections and important details from the passage. Don't expect the right answer to jump off the page at you. As we discussed above, these wrong answers are meant to be tempting. They're never going to be A, yellow, B, banana, C, 10, D, Mrs. Dalloway. Instead, they're more likely to be along the lines of A, yellow, B, orange, C, okra, D, red. So focus on reading the question carefully, identifying the information you need to answer it before you return to the passage or your passage notes. Writing 1 or 2 word summaries of each paragraph can be helpful as you read the first time to skim for that information. 3. Make a prediction before you read the answer choices. It might seem like coming up with your own answer would take up more time, but it actually saves time. Looking at the answer choices cold is dangerous, and you'll waste a lot of time engaging with them and letting them take up space in your brain. Instead of meandering through a pile of wrong answer choices in search of the right one, use your own words to state the answer first, then evaluate the answer choices. If an answer choice doesn't match your prediction, immediately stop reading it and move on. Don't let it take up your brain space. You already know it's wrong. You don't need it. Cross it off in your test booklet. Move on. 4. Avoid superlatives. One of the wrong answer types that crops up a lot: superlatives. Say you've just been given a passage on the dangers of mobile technology. The author's making an argument that they can potentially limit our freedom, our civil liberties. And the question pops up, which of the following statements is the author most likely to agree with? One of those statements says, mobile technology is the most threatening menace to society today. That's a superlative. The most threatening is a very extreme position. We don't know from reading one piece of what an author has written what that author thinks about other items. It could be that the author is even more concerned about other things related to technology, like genetically modified food maybe. So whenever you see something that says best, worst, most, least, any kind of superlative, unless it says directly in the passage that this is the case, assume it's not the right answer. These also make for excellent answers to eliminate when you're running out of time. These tips will work on all types of questions, from main idea to inference, to point of view, to vocabulary. They'll also work for all types of passages: social science, social studies, natural sciences, prose fiction, literary narrative, and humanities. Don't believe this simple trick of predicting the answers will work? Try out the ACT reading strategies yourself with the practice questions linked in the description. However, while these tips are incredibly important to use both in practice and test day, the right kind of practice is also crucial to setting you up for success. So, how would you use these tips? Here are 4 tips to optimize your test prep for the ACT reading. 1. Read all of the answer explanations as you study. The more you do this, the more you'll get familiar with the kinds of wrong answer choices you'll see on test day, and the less tempting they'll be. 2. Do at least 10 ACT reading practice tests. Full-length practice tests are available in ACT practice books at local bookstores, at your local library, and even downloadable online. Find a quiet place where you can take the practice ACT and clear off the table or desk. Try and eliminate any distractions and do the best you can to mimic your test day environment. Keep a clock or timer in front of you so you can periodically check and see how you are doing. You may want to set the timer to go off every 9 to 10 minutes. Don't rush, but make sure you can move confidently from one passage to the next and answer all questions in the time allotted. 3. Get used to mixing up the passages. You will always see 4 passages, and you must always answer all 40 questions, even if you just guess. The ACT does not penalize you for wrong answers, but that doesn't mean you have to approach the passages in the order in which they are presented on the test. As you practice, you will start to realize which passages are easier and which are more challenging for you. For example, if prose fiction is your strong point, but natural science passages make you nervous, it may make sense for you to do the prose fiction passage first and save the natural science passage for last. Just make sure you're bubbling in the right question number on your answer sheet. 4. Time yourself as you practice to get the pacing right. If you are spending more than 3 minutes reading and marking ACT reading passages, you are risking not being able to finish all of the questions on test day. As you become more and more confident with your accuracy, try to get as precise as possible with the timing of your note-taking. Studying for the SAT or ACT doesn't need to be a grind. Magoosh is test prep that you can do on your phone or computer, and we guarantee it works or your money back.